Welcome to the newest episode of Beyond the Fame with Jason Fraley. I'm your host, Jason Fraley, picking the brains of the top filmmakers, musicians, and artists of our time. Country superstar Dierks Bentley performs live tomorrow at Merriweather Post Pavilion in Columbia, Maryland. He called in to discuss his prolific country career, from What Was I Thinking to Settle for a Slowdown to Burning Man.
Hey, Jason, Dierks, how you doing?
Hey, Dierks Bentley, thanks so much for joining us on WTOP in DC.
Oh, man, so happy to be here. Appreciate it.
Yeah, we're talking about your Beers on Me tour. It's coming to the iconic Merriweather Post Pavilion venue in Columbia, Maryland, this Saturday, tomorrow at this point. So get your tickets now. Hey, so I assume by the tour name, Beers on Me, I guess we're in for a party.
We're in for a party, man. It's a lot of fun. It's a great, it's a great tour. Everyone on this tour is so fun. Ashley McBride is just the real deal and so fun backstage. And Travis Denning is, I mean, I don't think I've met anyone more funnier than he is. And obviously a great singer as well. Totally underrated as a singer and a great guitar player. So, yeah, we're having a blast on stage, backstage, off stage. It's just been a really fun tour.
Awesome. Well, you have at this point probably 24 or so radio hits. Putting together a set list is probably a whole ordeal. But before we get into some of those songs, I would love to. But I always like to find, like, your origin story. Born in Phoenix in '75. Like, what sort of artist did you grow up listening to? How did you pick up a guitar the first time? Any good childhood stories?
Yeah, sure, man. I grew up at a time when music was everything. There weren't any phones and other distractions. It was just like music was what we're all into. My sister was a couple years older than me, and she had her taste. She loved U2 and Madonna and the Bangles and Billy Idol. And for me, I was huge on my first concert was Skid Row and Bon Jovi when I was 13. So I was big on rock and metal, but my dad always loved country music. We always listened to it in the car, and I always enjoyed listening to it with him. It just wasn't really my music until I turned 17, and I heard Hank Jr. sing songs about, I think it's a song about naked women and beer. And I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. What's this guy? Rock and roll guitar. And like, he's just singing with so much testosterone. I was like, okay, this is country music. All right. I think I like this. And from there, it was the whole class of '89, Alan Jackson, Clint Black, Garth Brooks, Dwight Yoakam, Marty Stewart. There's one moment when I remember hearing the first Hank Jr. song, and that was it. I was like hooked. Moved to Nashville 2 years later. I love country music. That's my main superpower, is just my sheer love of the music, all kinds of country music from the 90s, traditional stuff, bluegrass, the current stuff out there today. I just love it.
Look at you using my origin storyline and saying superpower. Nice. Well, all right.
That's
so you
right.
say you moved to Nashville, signed with Capitol Nashville for that first self-titled album, Dierks Bentley. Bunch of hits. I loved My Last Name. How Am I Doing? But
Thanks.
But we got to talk about What Was I Thinking? That was the big smash breakthrough. How much did that just put you on the map? And you were off to the races.
Yeah, that song. I went on and did the radio tour, stopped by every station in the country over a 3-month period, and I was really pulling for a song called Wish You Would Break. It's a slower song. It's super country. Great hook. Yeah. And, I'd print up these emails I got back from program directors and friends in radio, saying, we think this should be the first single too. And I remember having a meeting with Mike Dungan, the president of Capitol Records, still is. And we ate at a restaurant called South Street, which is no longer there in Nashville, of course, because this town has changed so much. But I showed him all these emails. And he's like, those are great. But I think the first single should be What Was I Thinking? And then a station in Seattle started playing What Was I Thinking? And that was it. And I'm glad I was wrong, because that song is so fun. I'm so glad I've been kicking our show off with it on this tour. It's just lightning in a bottle. It's such a great song. And I'm so happy to have it in my back pocket every night.
Oh, it's such a great, energetic song. Perfect to open the set list for sure.
It really is.
That next album, Modern Day Drifter, I wanted to compliment you for that, because in the same album, you can do a romantic song like Come a Little Closer, a breakup song like Settle for a Slowdown, where you're like pleading for the girl to come back. But then on the flip side, another breakup where it's like, you might not want to get close to me because you're on the other side of it. I got a lot of leaving left to do.
Yeah.
What's sort of the secret of sort of playing all three sides of that relationship?
Man. Yeah, exactly.
No
That's the full. That's funny. Actually, I met my wife when A Lot of Leaving Left to Do was on the radio. So that's like, I'm sure her parents love that song. Like, wow, this guy's singing about how he has a lot of leaving left to do, and you're hanging out with him. What? Yeah. I remember that song. We were on the road. I was exhausted, lying in my bunk, and I had a couple songwriter friends out, and I heard them start playing that groove, that kind of wailing halftime groove, and I was like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, what's that?" And we wrote the song on the bus that day, and just a killer song, and it's so fun to have out there. And that's yeah, it's all about love. It's just trying to come at it from all the different angles and ways we experience it as people. So, yeah, between come a little closer, settle for a slow down, and a lot of leading left to do. The whole range is right there, isn't it? That's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, and a lot of leaving left to do is to this day. Turn down the windows, crank it up, and sing it. Especially the line "How you hold leave in" at the end. It's just so singable. All right,
Thanks, man.
but speaking of the cars, we're driving in cars. Long trip alone. You sort of start using the out the road for some metaphors. Free and easy down the road I go. Every mile of memory, and of course the title track, "Long Trip Alone." Why is being out on the road and counting, the mile signs and all the different landmarks? Why is that so beautiful for visual storytelling for you?
Oh man, great question. I mean, it's almost a rite of passage for an artist that, nationally you spend 10 years trying to work on your first record, and you want to be on the road, but you're not. You're grinding on Music Row. That's the only that's the only road you're on, is 16th and 17th Avenue. Those roads, trying to write songs, trying to make records, trying to meet people, trying to just get a chance to get a record deal and get on the road. And then once you get on the road, how can you help but not write about it? It's to be sitting in the front seat of a tour bus going down the highway, with your best friends hanging out on you on the bus and playing shows every night and meeting people and getting back on the bus. I mean, it's the life you dreamed of living, and you're finally get a chance to live it. So yeah, I think every artist that does that is going to have an album full of road songs. So I definitely have my share of songs about my love of the road, and it's there's a lot to write about when you get out there. So sometimes it can be too much. You'll get people telling you, okay, enough songs about the road. Your fans don't live on the road; they live their house, their home. So it's not really relatable. But there's just some lure that goes. I think it's just as an American, just going, the pool of the West, and the pool of the open road and the landscape. So it's a fun thing to write about.
Oh yeah, and you make it so cinematic. It's like some old movie going back in time. All right. Well, so
That's
you
right.
you graduate. I'm gonna have to skip ahead. We'll never get them all. Maybe time for one or two more. But you graduated from the road to the skies, drunk on a plane. Were you were you actually sitting getting drunk on a plane, or I don't even know. Did you actually write that yourself, or how'd that
Well,
come up?
yeah, I wrote that song with a few friends. That's exactly right. You get married, have a kid or two, and all of a sudden the bus does not get you from A to B quick enough. So you start looking at other options. So flew a lot of Southwest flights, a lot of Southwest, and I'd always pick seat 7A. That was my favorite seat. Seven's my lucky number. A is a window seat. So that
Ah.
was my seat. And I wrote that song with Josh Keir and Chris Tompkins back in Nashville, and just think Josh had the idea. And at that point, I was a pilot too. I started flying myself in little prop planes to
Oh no
shows.
way! I didn't know that.
Yeah, yeah. I got my pilot. Well, actually, I got my pilot's license when I was about 21 years old. But then I ran out of money and reason to do it. But when I had my first kid, we had our first kid. I started flying again. I've been flying ever since. But I don't get drunk when I'm flying, only when I'm in the back of a Southwest plane. But yeah, I started flying a bunch, and I still do. I flew today up here to Buffalo. It's kind of an important part of being a dad as well as a country singer, is being able to be two places at once. So that's
Oh.
what I do a lot of.
I'm sure you had that 737 rocking like a G6.
Oh yeah, the
Who
video.
would have thought that line would be in country music?
I know. Well,
It's
that video was
evolving,
so
baby. It's
fun. We
evolving.
definitely had that. We had that fake 737 rocking like a G6 in the video. And yeah, I had a couple of friends tell me when they heard that song, they're like, "Man, rednecks don't fly. That song's never going to work." And I'm like, "Have you ever been on a Southwest plane after about 2-3 hours when the drink coupons are running out? Like it's rocking up there. It is a party." So I don't know
Oh,
about that. And I think I proved them wrong.
absolutely. You got to pull down the oxygen mask sometime.
That's
All
right,
right,
man.
cool. Final one. I know we're up against the clock, but I have to know about doing that Brothers Osborne collaboration, "Burning Man." That is such a great song. But just what was it like working with those fellas?
Yeah. Whenever you cut a great song, and I knew that was a big hit. It's like, is there any way to make this any better, any more interesting? There's anything I can do to it. And I had this great guitar solo spot, and I loved John Osborne's guitar playing. And then I thought, well, heck, I mean, we could probably turn that second verse into a collaboration with TJ, and it just worked out so well having them on that song. I knew they'd love it when they heard it. They both texted me back right away, like, hell yeah, we're all in. John came in the studio the next day carrying his own amp and his guitar and set it down the floor and started putting together that solo section. And it just worked out so great.
Awesome. Well, we can't wait to hear that and all the ones that you mentioned and many more because you got tons. It'll be tomorrow. It's almost here, folks. So you got to go to Merriweather's website and get your tickets. It's the Dierks Bentley Beers on Me tour tomorrow at Merriweather in Columbia. Thank you so much for joining us. I really, really appreciate it. Big fan, for a longtime fan, first time caller.
Thank you so much. I enjoyed it. Well, it's fun talking about music, fun talking about my career, recapping everything, and I had a really good time. So I appreciate it, Jason, and we'll see you down the road.
All right. Thank you, Dierks.
Thanks, buddy.
Later.
All right. Bye.
Thanks so much for joining us on Beyond the Fame with Jason Fraley. Remember to hit the subscribe button and give us a 5-star rating if you like what you hear. We'll see you next time. I wanted to take a second to tell you about an app I really enjoy. Living in the DC area is great, and Podcast DC gathers all of the local shows that I like all in one local app. Health, sports, local news, politics, and so much more. Podcast DC is the new local app with hundreds of DC area podcasts to choose from. I can earn exciting rewards just for listening and share the podcasts I love instantly. Available in the App Store or in Google Play, listen local with Podcast DC.